It's got two people. Who is that? Well, anyway, I'm here to clarify and give a little bit of history and a little bit of knowledge and information so that some of you guys that may not be up on your history, up on your African American history, your story, your tale, I came here to help you so that you can get some real research so that our black people can understand truly what's been our ailment. Now, and I'll say follow me on Instagram at Michael Edwards 3447. Subscribe to RBG Hebrew 2 and subscribe to RBG Hebrew 4. Hey, Joyce, shalom, shalom. Yeah, I just wanted to come here quickly and give the people a little bit of history and a little bit of stuff that they could definitely research and run down and grab a little bit of truth concerning this whole debacle, even what Kanye said this morning or whenever he said that. So I think, again, our people and even Kanye need to have history, our great, rich, eclectic story as African Americans or so-called African Americans is really deep. And if you haven't studied African American history, really African history, not just simply American history, if you haven't studied that, then I'm going to tell you, then your skewed view and your particular political affiliation and even your social views, if you haven't understood your history, it's going to be devoid of proper practicality. I'll show you what I mean. I did the video earlier and I talked about the fact that Kanye West was right. And I know a lot of people hate to hear that shit and they're like, Mike, get the fuck out of here, man. What the fuck you talking about? Kanye right. I said it, I'm going to say it one more time. Kanye West was correct in his thoughts and the way he saw it and actually his own worldview. Real talk, Joyce. And so how was Kanye right? Let's talk about it. I'm going to talk about it from three particular perspectives, all right? The first perspective is mental slavery, right? The brother alluded to that, and most of what he meant in his little words was talking about mental slavery. Mental slavery. One more time, mental slavery. That's one of the three. Then literal slavery. From West Africa to here. Being put on slave blocks and auction blocks. And then being separated from families and put in fields and put any and everywhere to work in the slave fields. That's the second. Mental slavery, then physical slavery, and then the actual transatlantic slave trade itself. All three of these particular portions of your history must be understood so that your particular worldview won't be skewed. Okay? Now, Gaio, I want to say the words wrong. So let's say, I'll give you these empires to study, okay? The Songhai Empire, okay? You look that up. Songhai, Songhai. Then you look up Gaio or Gao Empire, Gao. And then you study what is called Dindi, all right? Dendi, all right? And there are a few more actual particular areas of this study that I want y'all to get into. But I want you to notice specifically, Songhai Empire is the empire that you came out of. Songhai Empire was indeed an Islamic empire. Songhai Empire was indeed an Islamic empire filled with black people, right? Black people that were a potpourri of migrating, a potpourri of people running from persecution, a potpourri of indigenous West Africans and Central Africans and Africans from the Congo. All of that, you can look up the word Negro land also. Negro land, that word is very crazy, when you tell people about that and the first time they heard about it. But if you Google that, there will be a large old map with the words Negro land scribed across the central part of Africa. This is what your slave captors called that place, Negro land. But that same land was designated as a place called, again, Songhai Empire. It was an Islamic empire. Let me point out something to you. Most of you all that lived in the place called Songhai were not Muslims before the Songhai Empire came to its fruition. Africa, historically and in its antiquated state, is a tribal continent, right? So that means that there are many cultures, many ways and means, all wrapped up into this actual place we call Negro land, where you have even Ashanti tribesmen, Oye Igbo tribesmen. I talked about the Congo, and you definitely know about those Zulu people, and then those that actually had descendants that kind of went into Central Africa and mixed up with other races. This is what the whole truth about Africa is. Although Africa is just as separated by nations as it has always been, there have always been cohabitation and commingling between Africans. Always. Even in what is called the Songhai Empire. Again, the Songhai Empire was an Islamic empire. That means when you entered the slave trade, no matter what your subculture was, if you're Ashanti, at that time, you were considered not only by the world, but considered by your actual empire to be Muslim. I'm going to tell you a quick story about a bad book, the book Roots, Alex Haley. The first 2 pages of Roots is actually the best part of that book because it's the most authentic in its history story. The book opens up in Negro land. Oh, yes. The book opens up with the word Muslim on the first page, I believe 3 or 4 times. Although we understand and know that Alex Haley's story, Roots, was not a true story as relates to names per persons and families, but we understand that Alex Haley's Roots story was what went on, just not accurate to the details and the names and the families. But that first page, again, ladies and gentlemen, Alex Haley talked about those people coming out of Gambia. Gambia, one more time, Gambia. He says those people coming out of Gambia were Muslim. And I'm telling you, just as Alex Haley presented in that book, and just as your brother Michael is presented to you, that you all were tribal Africans that had all of your tribal roots and cultures, subcultures, but as a whole ruled by a nation that was Islamic. Islamic. John Williams, yes, I'm agreeing with him, but I'm also teaching what Kanye don't know. Right? So when you get finished with it, rewind it back so you get the first 10 minutes and then the rest of what I'm going to say. So again, Alex Haley's book there was not historically correct, but again, the first 2 pages was factual in the sense that Gambia and Islam were his projections. I'm telling you that the Songhai Empire literally was your home, where you were sold from. And I'm telling you all that in West Africa, under the Songhai Empire, you were sold by Turkish Muslims and your own goddamn people. I'm going to say that shit one more time. Of course, there are other groups, but in the inception of the transatlantic slave trade, you black people, you were already slaves to Islam. Uh-huh. The Songhai Empire came in and snatched away your subcultural, political, social, economic constructs, and it gave you Islam. After Islam, you were sold by black Africans that converted to Islam and black or so-called Turkish Muslims. You were sold by your people that converted to Islam, and then you were sold by Turkish Muslims. Mm-hmm. True, 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 true. But guess what else happened? Not only the fact that we were sold by, many of us were sold, and our families sold by our own black folk in Africa. Listen to this fact. Kanye West, again, was not talking about the issue that I'm explaining to you here. Kanye West was talking about a mental condition that happened to you after the Songhai Empire, after the transatlantic slave trade, and when you got your hips on these shores. I said to you before, there are three areas of slavery that our people must understand so that they can have a good compass and a good perception of what happened. They must understand mental slavery. They must understand the transatlantic slave trade. And then they must understand what working in the fields was. Working in the fields for our close ancestors. Listen to me. My grandmother, and I'm jumping from Songhai to here. I want you all to take that information about Songhai and those other empires and study that, so you'll get a good concrete foundation on what happened to you before you got on the water and got over here. Right? You'll understand that you were already a slave to Islam. Islam came and took over your cultural paradigm and made everybody Muslim. And so when you got to America and on those boats, although many of you tribally didn't have the same tongue, really in your nationality and your religious beliefs, you were all slaves under one idea. Now, mental slavery is not necessarily dealt with in the first generation of slaves. They weren't mental slaves. They were physically slaves. They were physical slaves. Most of them forced into slavery, but there were those that were indentured servants, forced and willing. True. Ask Oluda Equino. This is what's so important about this particular area of our history, because we got stories of people like Oluda Equino and his exploits that will show the actual synchronism that I'm pointing out. Okay? Oluda was snatched from Africa, but Oluda wasn't a forced slave. Oluda wasn't beaten and raped and all of that. And I'm telling you, there were hundreds of thousands of Africans that were either just like Oluda, snatched up out of the homeland, brought to another land, and had a pretty decent life. There were people that were snatched up out of the homeland, thrown on slave ships, that had hellish lives. That's the duality. That's the truth. And it is important, of utmost importance, that you understand the first aspect of your story came out of Songhai Empire. You came here as Muslims by the million. Even with your cultural paradigms, subculture. Now, Kanye is talking about mental slavery, that condition that we are suffering from today. Do you not know that the majority of black people today are still slaves in 2018? Slaves. Oh, yes. Why are you slaves? How are you slaves? Kanye pointed it out by his own words. Kanye said, come on, man. All of these million people, right? How? How did that happen? And I said on my earlier video, the same way it happened then, they didn't leave for the same reason you all didn't leave America today. Harriet Tubman had to kill Negroes with the Underground Railroad for the same reason that some of us have to literally come and chastise you all today, because some of you are slaves that will not agree and see the truth about your condition. I said slavery, mental slavery, extends from the landing on the shores of these Americas to this very day. It's called being a free slave. Oh, yeah. And this slavery, this free slavery, came and was rubbed on us and smeared on us literally by our grandparents. I know that's fucked up to say that, but listen. When you were freed, when they were freeing all of the slaves, number one, all of the slaves didn't get freed because all of them didn't know they were free, right? That's a whole nother horse of a different color. The point is that millions of slaves were made free. And guess what? There was no mass exodus back to Africa for a number of reasons. Economic depravity, mental demoting of the thoughts, and yet you've been a slave for so goddamn long, you start thinking less of yourself. And the brothers in here putting it in here, and I can't address the comments right now because I'm teaching this and I'm building something for people to understand. So you being here in America as a slave and then being freed, Kanye is talking about that moment till today. Kanye ain't talking about the transatlantic slave trade. Kanye is not talking about Shanghai Empire. I am. Again, the mental issue about why you all are still here in America today. Can you all answer that for me before we go on? Can anybody in the chat answer for me, why is it that after hundreds of years of slavery, hundreds and into the millions of murders and rapes and intermingling of genetic material till we get mulattoes and all of this stuff, tell me, why is it that you, black man, black woman, why are you still here in America? The same reason that the slaves were still here in America when they were freed. Because you learned to love this shit. I'm sorry, but let's turn it up and go uphill now. You've learned to love it, and you've to not see anything outside of what you have been given here. Here, let's look at it. My grandmother was one of the last generations of sharecroppers, free slaves. Tell me, why is it that my mother, last generation sharecropper, why is it that she didn't throw down everything she had and say, listen, let me go back to where I'm from, where my genetics is from? Anybody? Somebody answer me. Why did we stay after we were freed? Now, I said again, some of them didn't know they were freed, but at some point in history, all of the Negroes in this continent understood you're free to go. And you're still free to go today. But most of y'all will not leave massa. You refuse to leave the weave shop. You refuse to leave Foot Locker. You refuse to leave that church that the Roman Catholic Church built. You refuse to leave sorcery and drug abuse. You refuse to leave that alcohol. You refuse to leave the security of living in a nation that is supposedly the greatest nation in the world. You've gotten spoiled on that goddamn dollar. Why is it that you didn't leave? Why is it that you didn't take your children and run back to your home? Could have been done. Why is it that Denmark Vesey and Nat Turner and scores of other brothers had fierce, bloody rebellions? Even, what is it called? The Massacre of the Whites down in Florida. When all these Negroes and Native Americans got together, the Massacre of the Whites. You can Google everything I'm telling you, find it, facts. The Massacre of the Whites was black men and Native American men turning on the slave captors in Florida and killing them. Why didn't that take root as a constant revolution? Why didn't Nat Turner's revolutions and rebellions take root and spread across the country like fires? Why didn't Denmark Vesey's rebellions start us to get to the place that we understand even today, that we don't have to stay? Why? Why did Nat Turner, Harriet Tubman, Denmark Vesey, and scores of other people, why did their work end up being in vain? For the same reason that Kanye pointed out today. Kanye said it. How did it happen? All of those millions of people. And you stayed here. That mind. That mind. Transatlantic slave trade, the actual slave trade, and mental slavery. I said my grandmother was one of the last generation sharecropping slaves. And I'm asking my grandmother, and she's passed on, why didn't you take us all back? There's many factors in this, but the main overriding factor is that you learn to love your captor, Stockholm Syndrome. And let me remind you that Stockholm Syndrome is a syndrome that was present in black people before Stockholm. You look up what Stockholm Syndrome is, you'll understand that it happened and started in a white land in modern times. But Stockholm Syndrome, love for your oppressor, was the ailment of Negroes. The Negroes that don't want to rock with Harriet Tubman. The niggas that didn't want to rock with Nat Turner. The Negroes that didn't want to rock with Denmark Vesey. And the Negroes that just wanted to toe the line and wanted to stay under the radar and not rock the boat. And live and then die and not get murdered by the slave master for rebelling. See, you can't blame that on white people. I'm going to say that shit again. You can't blame your fear and your love of this country, this economy, this politics and social structure. You can't blame that on white people. You could have left 400 motherfucking years ago. You could leave today. But I'm telling you, and Kanye is telling you, from 400 years ago to today, your choice has been to stay here. And not only to stay here, but to fall in love with your oppressor, to even marry him, to even help him build his house. That's a mental sickness. That's something that, although the rigors of slavery creates the environment for that mind to degrade to that point, it wasn't forced on you. Just like today, I'm standing before you in 2018 asking you free people, supposedly free slaves, why are you still goddamn here? You talk about Donald Trump. You talk about all of these police that kill you everywhere. You talk about how they killed all of our revolutionaries. You talk about how they're doing Bill Cosby. I'm asking you motherfuckers today, what the fuck are you still doing in America? I'm telling you why. Because you've learned to love it. That's the same fucking reason why Harriet Tubman had to kill motherfuckers to help them get freed. You did. She was telling them the same thing. What the fuck is wrong with you that you've learned to love your oppressor? And many of you today won't even speak truth to power or won't even speak truth to your people. Number one, out of ignorance because you don't know what to say, but many of you do know what to say, but too scared to say it. But I'm saying it, and I'm have to ask myself that question. What the fuck are we doing still in America after America kills us still in 2018? You still filling up the prisons and the cemeteries by your own hand and by the hand of the white man. Did Kanye West have a point? You motherfucking right, he had a point. He had a point 400 something years ago, and he got a point today. Ask yourself that tonight. When you see Kanye West on the motherfucking air and you ready to tear into him and shit, ask yourself that question that Brother Michael's asking you. What the fuck are you doing still here in America, nigga? They cutting slaves' feet off, burning slaves at the motherfucking stake, raping women. And you niggas marrying white women today. Huh? I said you motherfuckers learn to love this shit. You marrying white women and then you have children with them. That's some mental motherfucking slavery. You have marry a white woman, you have children with them, you work your whole goddamn life for them, and you die building another nation. That's the same motherfucking mental sickness that got you here in 2018, but you should have been gone 400 and plus years ago, damn near 500 now. Why you still here when you were freed? Let me ask you this. If they made a law today and they said that all of you Negroes, all of you silly motherfuckers out here, you thoughts and these rapping Negroes that ain't got no honor, what if they said that slavery is back law? That some of these motherfuckers have learned to love this country so much they wouldn't even leave. I said, let me ask you another hard ass question. I said, what if they made slavery legal again today? Yeah, there's few of us that would die fighting, goddammit. But there's many of you niggas that would not leave, that would not fight, and that would stay here, trying not to rock the boat. Just like the people that Harriet Tubman had to pop, hit them in between their motherfucking eyes and kill them. See, there is a mental issue that our black people, peace to you backpack, there's a mental issue that our black people have to deal with that comes not from other cultures and not from even other cultures aggressing you and putting you in slavery, but apathy. A-P-A-T-H-Y, apathy. Apathy means you know what to do, but you just won't fucking do better. You're like a deer in the headlights, caught. God damn it, I said, why are you still here in America? If they've done you so bad, what the fuck are you here for? They done you so bad, why does Harriet Tubman have to kill some motherfuckers to get them to go underground? They did you so bad, why did Nat Turner have to literally push away some black people so that he could rock with some other black people that's willing to fight? Why were there people willing to fight against Nat Turner? Why was Denmark Vesey's rebellion not filled with all of black America? Because of your ass. Because of your choices. And we can't continue blaming the world. Come on, man. And I want to suggest to you in closing this, and I'm going to come back with this, and we're going to readdress it because I know there's going to be some brothers with questions. But the reason you haven't gotten reparations. Listen to me, goddammit. The reason you, as black people, have not gotten fucking reparations is because you fucking by choice stayed here and you married the motherfucker. You married your slave owner, your master, your tormentor. You married him. And for all intents and purposes, who in the fuck want to give you anything and you chose this? Of course we were done wrong in slavery. Ain't nobody sitting up here trying to say the white man treated us good. Is you crazy? But I'm saying, once you were free, you could have left and you stayed. And today you're still here. And some of you niggas are asking for reparations, but I'm asking you, how can you ask for reparations when you could have fucking left on your own? See, mental slavery is a byproduct of Stockholm Syndrome. And Stockholm Syndrome is love for your oppressor, and it don't come from outside your skin. It comes from inside your motherfucking skin onto without. That means you're the only person responsible for giving your fucking self Stockholm Syndrome, falling in love with the motherfucker beating your ass and killing you. Then you not only fall in love with him, you stay here, you have babies with him, and you marry him. Nobody around the world is that stupid to come to black people and say, you know what, they do deserve reparations. No, motherfucker, you stayed. You stayed and you invested in your captors. Didn't you? I said 3 areas of slavery. 3 aspects of slavery that our people have no goddamn clue about. And they need to be studying. Transatlantic slavery. Coming out of the Songhai Empire and those empires that I gave you first. And what you were when you were there, a fucking slave under Islam. And you came here and become a slave under Christianity. The transatlantic slave trade. Physical slavery, labor in the fields and being beaten and abused. And then mental slavery. Those 3 things, if you don't understand them historically, spiritually, and through anthropology, which is the study of your culture, if you don't understand that, then you're going to look at Kanye and you're going to say, man, this nigga here's talking stupid. But when you're free, when you're resurrected, when you're a black man that knows your story, you'll say, you know what? Goddamn, my nigga, he's right. I'm going to ask you one more fucking time. If I beat you, snatch your child and your mama, I rape your mama, and I force your son to work in the fields every fucking day for a penny a day for 50 years. And not only the fact that your son never, all in 50 years, grew up and tried to kill me. He never tried to kill me. At the end of it, I'd free you all. I let you go. And you say, you know what, master, you know why? We gonna stay right here. We gonna stay right here. Because we don't know nothing else and it's safer right here. Are you supposed to blame white people for that? I said you had Stockholm Syndrome when you made the fucking decision. And you still have it today. But you also have that duality. That duality that makes most of you motherfuckers hypocrites. To talk about Kanye West when you literally are the reason for your own fucking slavery. You love America. You love this white man. You love being second fiddle to him. Yes, you motherfuckers do. If you hated it, you'd leave this motherfucking country. All of us. And in that, even myself, I'm teaching myself right now. Why in the fuck am I here? Huh? I got to swallow this message first. Why am I here? Why are all of us here? Indeed, Joyce. Why are we here? We got brothers with millions of dollars. Don't you know? With $1 million, you can probably buy 40, 50 plane tickets and a bunch of other shit that could set you up in Africa. But watch this. I'm going to say this when I'm going to close. What do our people do when they get up and finally leave this mess? Go back and you study the wars in West Africa around Monrovia, around from the 70s to the late 80s. Some of them even into the 60s. The wars that destroyed Monrovia. Do you not know that most of Monrovia and West Africa was fucking destroyed because of American Negroes leaving this country, going to Africa and not letting Africa teach them, but going there, bringing their fool ass thoughts from this country to over there. Guess what happened? War, 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 the destruction of Monrovia. Twice. I challenge y'all to go study who were the black people that left here with this country's blessing and even money and guns they gave them. Take this money, take these motherfucking guns, get y'all fucking ass out here and go to Africa. They did that shit already. Twice. Your government. And them motherfucking niggas went to West Africa and destroyed it. Why? Because of your choices. Niggas love to be like the white man. So they went over there from America to West Africa and treated West Africa just like the white man would have done it. You see? And that's your fucking problem. It's not the white man. It's not what the white man have done to us, even historically. Yes, it was fucked up. Yes, it never should have happened. But your ass has a responsibility to not let apathy destroy your future. If you want America, stay in America. But if you don't come to me as a fucking hypocrite and tell me the white people put us in slavery and now you driving around in a Maserati and you won't get your bitch ass up and go to Africa. Shut the fuck up about Kanye and the white man. That's why white people don't respect you, because you know what to do, have the shit to free yourself and the resources. But what do? You stay here in America and you pimp your women. You stay here in America and you shop and make Walmart rich and won't buy from your brothers. Shout out to Brother Sinetta. What do? We sell each other poison and then we kill each other over that poison. What do? We stay in America and make gangs from the 50s to 2018 that has killed millions of us. And we proud of that shit. See? That's why I said about the little Mexican Puerto Rican dude, Tekashi 6ix9ine. That's why I said, how are you stupid motherfuckers that ignorant today to let a Puerto Rican got you Bloods and Crips, black Bloods and Crips out here banging on each other over a fucking Puerto Rican? I said most of this shit is your motherfucking fault, black man, black woman. Tell me how it's not. Yeah, Planned Parenthood tricks you, but you niggas say that you're smart and you're not dumb. Some of you motherfuckers even say you don't even need God. But you lay up in Planned Parenthood and abort your generations. The white man ain't push you down on that fucking table, dummy. Neither did the white man pop a seed in you before you were able to take care of it. And neither did the white man make you so immoral that you can do that and walk on your rest of your goddamn life. Kanye was fucking right. Most of you black people will not take the responsibility to even learn your own goddamn history, like the things I'm teaching you tonight. Some of that shit, and that was basic. I didn't even want to go deep because I know most people are not going to research it. But that was basic. And tell me why. You want to blame the white man for teaching you about his American history. Why won't you study about yours? So you'll stop making dumb decisions. So that you will be able to navigate in this world the way you should. as a prime being. What the fuck is you doing still here? How does it happen? And we still got the motherfucking right to complain. Come on, man. Now, in closing, family, I'm sorry that might have been a little bit of a scathing rebuke, but God damn it, my people, y'all need to. Because we not only destroy our own people with the white man like that, we let them eat Bill Cosby alive, but we'll also, through ignorance, destroy a brother that has great potential. Kanye West. He just a little scarred and don't have tact. And nobody ever taught him the shit that I'm teaching and, to be able to say it the way he's saying it. But there ain't no motherfucking body in this room or they can come here and disagree with what I said. I just gave you 41 minutes of fucking facts. And if you think I'm lying, check any of the shit I said. I said you were sold to Islam before the white man got you and beat you and fucked you up. You were sold to Islam. You Ashanti. You Oya Igbo. When you were under the Islamic rule, you wasn't out public everywhere using your Oya Igbo traditions. That was subcultural and you kept it in the family. Why? Because you ain't want to get killed by them fucking Muslims. Same way you niggas do in America today. You motherfuckers know that most of you all have sub-Saharan blood. But you bitch niggas, some of you motherfuckers will sit up here and act like a white man, marry the white man, and refuse to learn your story. Refuse to teach the world your story. And refuse to even teach your people the hard truths. One more time, y'all. What in the fuck are y'all doing still here? Huh? See, that's the shit that Kanye didn't have the wherewithal to say. What in the fuck are y'all doing still here? And then, like I said, we help the white man destroy Bill Cosby. Then we got brothers that are saying hard truths to you. And what do? Once again, you destroy another brother. Why? I know you niggas mad in the motherfucker. But peace to everybody in the room, especially Joyce. Peace to everybody in the room. And I hope y'all take a real listen and a real sit down thinking about the things I just said. Because there is, just exponentially more information that will come out of those things that I just gave you. How many of y'all gonna go study who you really are? How many of you gonna go ask yourself the question, why in the fuck did Harriet had to kill so many motherfuckers to get free? Had to make a nigga get free. Joyce said, don't go. This subject is so powerful, I'm gonna have to talk about it about a couple more times, So we'll probably visit this in the morning. Thank you, Joyce. I appreciate you. For real. But family, y'all, we got to do better than that. It's too late. Too late in the evening for us to be sitting up here blaming white people. Come on, man. Shit, you talking about the white man is the only millionaires and shit, and then the up bourgeoisie black people. Listen, almost every one of us in our lives have had at least $1 million pass through our hands. Shit, y'all think it's a lie? Go back and think about it. 20, 30, 40, 50 years, you as a black man and black woman, you've had at least $1 million that have passed through your motherfucking hands. That's enough to take you and your family back to Africa. You niggas can't leave Walmart, though. Motherfuckers will die if you gotta leave Walmart. Gotta stop eating this horse meat and shit over here. Y'all would literally die or kill some motherfucking body. That's mental slavery. That's self-inflicted mental slavery called Stockholm syndrome that didn't come from Stockholm, Sweden, but it came from Africans in America. And you can bet your motherfucking bottom dollar on that. So Joyce and all of the other family in the chat, thank y'all for coming. And I hope y'all can understand that. And I hope that you take my words and go check. I am an Israelite priest and a historian. You don't have to trust me. Go check what I said, and I guarantee you, you won't find one non-fact about this whole 45 minutes. And I got exponentially more to give. So Joyce, I'll be back on this subject. I'll be back, sister. I swear to you, I'll be back. Peace and black power, y'all.